Today we are going to discuss all the issues in West Asia like Israel, Palestine, Hezbollah, Hamas, right, Yemen, Syria, Iran. So all we are going to discuss, and it's going to be a long story. I will narrate it slowly so that you can digest it, because a lot of new names, terms, etc. will come. But the crux is that it's a story of proxy war between USSR and USA, and now Russia, China and USA. So they are fighting through the shoulders of West Asian countries. For what? Oil and gas, and the control over choke points like Persian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, Red Sea, Bab el Mandeb, Suez Canal, etc. Right? For that purpose, they were just fighting for last 75 years in this region. So that is actually the story. So how they are fighting, that you will understand. Clear? They are just proxies of USA and USSR, then now USA, Russia. And Cold War was basically proxy war, that they will not fight directly, USSR, USA will not fight directly, they will fight through their proxies, right? They will fight indirectly through the shoulders of others. So others will be fighting their fight. So that actually played out largely in Middle East, because Middle East was home to oil and gas reserves and critical choke points. So first is Israel-Palestine conflict. In this you will also understand rise of Hezbollah and Hamas, right? So all three topics will be covered by this. Before we start about these topics, you need to understand this map, right? So this is Israel, located just near to Suez Canal, right? And this area is also under Egypt. This is Lebanon, and there is small country here, Jordan also, right? Then Syria borders Israel, right? And this is Jordan, Lebanon, Syria. So Jordan also borders Israel, right? Egypt border, Lebanon borders, Syria border. Then there is Iraq, then Iran, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, right? Then UAE, Oman, Qatar, small state, Bahrain, right? So this map you have to put in your mind. So origin of Israel, the idea start coming when Zionism start rising in late 19th century. Late 19th century, right? This you don't write, we will do fastly. I will give you handout of today's lecture, this lecture. So Zionism started in late 19th century, and it finally culminated into 20th century when 1948 Israel was formed. Zionism, you understand, as political movement. Just like there is a religion, Hinduism, then there is a political movement, Hindutva. That's BJP led, right? There is a religion, Islam. Then there is political movement, Islamic movement. Means when you use a religion to get political power, to retain your political power, to consolidate your political power, to further expand your political power. So Hindutva is political version of Hinduism. Zionism, political version of Judaism. When you use the words Islamic, we are using the word for denoting political version of Islam, right? So now the religions are being used for political purpose, right? How you will understand? This region of Israel is sacred to Judaism, that Judaism, Christianity and Islam. Just like the region around Varanasi is sacred to Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism and Sikhism, right? So that's the most sacred place for all the Indic religions in the country, because around Varanasi you have Shiva and so on of Hinduism. Around Sarnath, Buddha got enlightenment, right? Mahavira also spent time there, so is Guru Nanak. So that's why this region is very important for all religions. Similarly, Jerusalem, that's the capital of Israel, is sacred to Christianity, Islam and Judaism. It is said Judaism get emergence or birth here in Jerusalem, and Jesus has spent time there, and Jerusalem also figure in Islamic Prophet Muhammad history, right? That's a story that there is a Al-Aqsa mosque in Jerusalem where it is said that Prophet Muhammad, when he was having dream to reach heaven, has spent time at Jerusalem. So thereby that at that place Al-Aqsa mosque, that's very sacred to Muslims, has been built, and it is considered as third sacred place after Makkah and Medina for Muslims. Clear? So that's why Jerusalem is sacred to all three: Christianity, Judaism and Islam. And this region is, I've told you, birthplace of all three religions: Christianity, Judaism and Islam. In fact, Christianity and Islam has emerged out of Judaism, right? Then is Gaza Strip. Gaza Strip, in this map, Gaza Strip, if this is Israel, right, Gaza is here, right, and West Bank is here. Both are Palestinian territories. Gaza is as of now under control of Hamas, Gaza, and West Bank is under Palestinian Liberation Organization control. Palestinian Liberation Organization control. Clear? You understood? Gaza, West Bank. Though it is in east of Israel, but it is called as West Bank. So Gaza, part of Palestine, is located at coast of Mediterranean, governed by Hamas since 2006, right? But Israel controls its airspace, coast, even goods flow into Gaza. Clear? Israel also have border control over Gaza because Gaza borders Israel also. Oh, sorry, Egypt also. Then West Bank, it's a landlocked region between Israel and Jordan. It's also part of Palestinian territory, right? Dead Sea also border this and is governed by Fatah, or you can say Palestinian Liberation Organization, right? Clear? West Bank. And some part of Jerusalem city is also under West Bank. So it means if this is Israel, right, this is Gaza, this is West Bank. So they are not contiguous to each other. They are separated by Israeli territory. So this part is under Hamas, this part under Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO. So you will see fight between, as of now, Israel and Hamas in Gaza, because PLO has accepted Israel as state. That's why you will not find Israeli attack against West Bank, PLO. You will find against Hamas, Gaza, right? Gaza in news, Gaza attack and so on. Clear? Now coming to Jerusalem, it's located in Plateau region in Judean mountains, and the western Jerusalem, that's the main part, is under Israel control, and eastern part is under Palestinian control, that's in West Bank, right? It has religious significance for all three religions, and here Israeli government is located, means executive parliament building is here only. Clear? Then comes the Zionism. It's basically political movement of Judaism or Judaism, right? And under this Zionism political movement, Jews start demanding separate homeland for themselves. They start demanding creation of Israel in late 19th century. Clear? Because at that time European nationalism was rising and anti-Semitism, Semitism means anti-Judaism, Judaism was rising, because I've told you Jews were holding top positions, that's why naturally hate get developed against them, right? And Europeans start thinking about Europe should be land of only native Europeans, not of Jews, because Jews were migrants, have come from present day Israel to different countries of Europe. So Jews start feeling insecure that in Europe they are not safe, that's why they want a land for themselves. And the father of modern political Zionism, that is Theodor Herzl, just like Veer Savarkar is considered as father of Hindutva. He has given that theory. Similarly, Theodor Herzl have given this theory of separate homeland for Jews, where he held first Zionist Congress, means all Jews in Europe were invited in a meeting in 1897 at Basel, and in that Congress it was decided the Jews will start migrating to Palestine. They will start purchasing land, so that over the period of time more and more land will come under Jews control, and then that land territory will be converted into state territory, right, a country territory. So that's how they will penetrate into Palestine, because in late 19th century Palestine was under Muslim control, right, Muslim society it became. Clear? Then Balfour Declaration 1917, by which UK supported Jews' homeland support, means Israel should be created. So now the idea start turning into plan in 1917. Idea came late 19th century, by early 20th century plan start getting made, right? And in this period you will see Jinnah rise in 1930s onwards, and he started demanding Pakistan, so to justify creation of Israel out of Muslim territory. Then League of Nations when created, it gives Palestine under British mandate. Just like we have discussed Trusteeship Council, similarly mandate system was there under League of Nations, where a particular territory will be governed by other country till the time such territory get matured or develop enough that it can govern itself. So Palestine was put under Britishers, right? So they governed Palestine, and League of Nations also says implement the Balfour Declaration, because League of Nations was dominated by Jews. Clear? Then Jewish immigration to Palestine start rising, that is Jewish immigration is called as Aliyah, right? Especially after Nazism start getting spread in Europe, where Hitler, by following policy of Nazism, were saying German only for Germans, and hate against Jews start rising, right? So during that period Jews have started migrated to Palestine, and it was under British control. British were supporter of Israel creation. That's why Jews found no difficulty in getting resettled in Palestine, where 99% population was Muslim. So they got protection of British government to get settled in predominant Muslim population state of Palestine. Clear? So 1946 Britain exits the mandate and hand over Palestine to UN. Then UN Special Committee on Palestine 1947 provides for partition of Palestine between Jewish state, Palestine state, and Jerusalem will be under international administration, means under UN administration. So such resolution was passed in UN General Assembly. Such resolution was called as 181. Clear? And by 1948 Israel formed. Israel formed. Clear? Because I told you UN is also America led. So Jews were able to get resolution passed for creation of Israel in UN, thereby getting legitimacy for their new state creation. This was not liked by Arab countries. A separate Jewish state get created. That's why Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, again put emphasis on the names, Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon invaded Israel immediately after its creation. It's just an infant country, just born, and being attacked by Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq and Lebanon. 5 countries together. 5 countries together. Right? So Israel fought for its sovereignty, and Israel defeated all of them. Not only protected its sovereignty, but also expanded its territory. Right? Expanded its territory, captured more area of Palestine than it earlier had before the war. Right? So it captured more areas of Palestine. Right? And 1959 ceasefire announced. Ceasefire is also called as armistice, and by which line of control demarcated between Israel and Palestine. Such line of control was called as Green Line. Clear? That's a disputed territory between Palestine and Israel. Clear? and Palestinians were displaced from their own territory, and they started confining themselves to Gaza and West Bank. And such migration of Palestinians were called as Nakba. Such displacement of Palestinian was called as Nakba, because Jews started forcefully displacing Palestinians from the territory under Israel control. And they start moving to West Bank and Gaza, and they start living as refugees. Clear? They start living as refugees because they become refugees in their own land, because they have to give up their homes for Jews, and they start living in kind of makeshift shelter homes, kind of slums in West Bank and Gaza. Why Israel was able to defeat all of them? Because Israel was backed by USA. It's not Israel that defeated them, it's USA that defeated them, because Israel is child of USA. Israel was created by USA, Britain together, and Israel is in existence because of them, and Israel will remain in existence because of them. Why Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon attacked, but not Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc.? Saudi Arabia, UAE were American allies. They never participated in any war against against Israel, but they always support Palestinian cause, right? Because their Muslim brothers' territory has been taken away by Jews. So why these countries attacked? Because these were first neighboring countries of Israel, easy to attack. Second, the main reason, can you guess why these countries only attacked Israel? Because they were all Soviet allies countries. Egypt, Nasir, right? Syria, Assad family, Jordan, Iraq, Saddam Hussein, Lebanon, etc. All were USSR allies. And amongst them, who is sitting now? American person. That is Israel, American man. You get the point? And Israel will be made so powerful then it can overtake all the USSR allies in the region. Clear? So it was Arab-Israel war, actually was USA-USSR war, fought through Israel and Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq and Lebanon. You understood? Clear? But here Israel won the war and expanded its territory. Clear? Then UN General Assembly Resolution 194 was passed, which says that Palestinian refugees will be returned to Israel if they want to live in Israel, and if they don't want to, then they should be paid compensation for loss of their property. Then Israel get formed, though never recognized by Muslim states, because they consider that Israel creation was out of Muslim territory, right? So Palestine state should be restored, Israel should be finished, and old state of Palestine should be again formed, right? India also did not recognize existence of Israel. Why? Otherwise if we recognize Israel, then two nation theory get justified, Pakistan creation get justified, right? Second, we have not recognized because Congress need Muslim votes also. So all Muslim countries of the world were against Israel creation. So Muslims in India were also against Israel creation, right? Demanding Palestinian state should be reformed, right? That's why also Congress government go against Israel. Clear? And third, we need oil and gas reserves and so on, right? Muslims never get anything by creation or non-creation of Palestine. Do their children get study or jobs if Palestine get created or not created? But just emotionally they are being manipulated to get their votes, that Congress is standing by for Palestinian cause. Clear? You understood? If whatever Syria is destroyed completely, why then Muslims are not coming in support of them? See, Yemen is completely destroyed, Libya is completely destroyed. Why they are not coming in support of them? Iran is now completely destroyed, right? So why they are not coming in support? Afghanistan completely destroyed. All are Muslim states. You get the point? So point is just emotional manipulation was there for their votes. Clear? You understood? Because Palestinian issue is geopolitical issue, not a religious issue. It was given color of religion for ordinary people because they will never understand this geopolitics, right? For their simplistic understanding, it was made Jewish versus Muslim issue, but actually it was geopolitical issue. For masses simplistic understanding, it was given the color of Hindu-Muslim issue, that's India-Pakistan creation, which actually again I have explained to you, it was geopolitical issue. Then Suez crisis happened in 1956. That's second Arab-Israel war. Why it happened? Because US and UK, see, Egypt was under Nasser. This name we had discussed in non-line movement. So he was also joining Nehru for non-line movement. But actually he was also tilted towards USSR. And he also tried to get funding from USA, UK, etc. Despite the fact de facto ally of USSR. In reality ally of USSR, but by calling non-line movement, right, was seeking funding from USA, UK also. Double game he was playing, right? But USA, UK denied funding for Aswan High Dam for Egypt. In retaliation, Nasser nationalized Suez Canal, from where 1/3 of global shipments pass through. And Suez Canal was under control of British and French company. There was a British and French joint venture which were controlling the Suez Canal. Now it will be Egyptian company, Egyptian government company, and Egyptian government is pro-USSR. So now Britain and France can't let Suez Canal to get out of their control. That's why British, France and Israel make a secret plan. They make a secret plan called as Protocol of Sevres. They say Israel will attack Egypt to take back Suez Canal from Egyptian control. You are understanding why Israel is created now? In just 7 years, Israel need or importance get realized by France, Britain to get back Suez Canal control. Clear? Israel attacked Egypt and then British and France come in support of Israel. Clear? So all three attacked Egypt. Clear? And they withdraw from this Britain, France, Israel withdraw from Egypt. Right? Why? First USSR threatened Britain and France that it will attack Britain and France by nuclear weapons if they do not withdraw from Egypt. First, it's obvious because Egypt was in reality ally of USSR. Clear? USA also put pressure on Britain, France to withdraw. Why? Because British and France intervened in Suez crisis in attacking Egypt without taking USA on board. It means they take USA for granted or they overlook USA because Britain and France considered themselves still after World War II as superpowers. USA want to show them their place, right? That's why USA put pressure to withdraw from Egypt. Clear? So they attack Egypt without USA permission or without USA taking into board, right? Clear? And they withdrew. Britain, France withdrew and they lost their global superpower status. Now it's clear to the world who is superpowers, USA and USSR. They can force Britain and France to withdraw from any military action they are taking. Clear? Now Britain and France accepted they are junior partner of USA. Now they can't go ahead in any military adventure without taking USA into confidence. Clear? And in Sinai Peninsula, this is Suez Canal, this is Egypt, right? This is Israel. This part is Sinai Peninsula. there UN peacekeeping force was deployed to maintain peace between Israel and Egypt, right? Policing function, that neither Israel attack Egypt nor Egypt attack Israel, to maintain ceasefire. Then in Palestine, People Liberation Organization formed in 1964, People Liberation Organization. Its goals were liberation of Palestine, and it has armed wing, called as Fateh. Just like in Bangladesh we have understood Awami League has its armed wing, that is Mukti Bahini. Similarly, it has armed wing named Fateh, who will wage armed struggle against Israel for freedom of Palestine. Clear? To restore the Palestinian state at 1947 borders, means finish Israel completely. The whole territory should come under Palestinian control. That was their objective. So they rejected Balfour Declaration, and its leaders were Ahmad Shukeri or Yasser Arafat. Clear? You understood? So they started violent attack against Israel. People Liberation Organization. Then 6-day war happened in 1967. Right? Here, what was happening? Israel, Lebanon, Jordan, Syria were planning to attack Israel. And before they could attack Israel, Israel attacked them. Right? So they were planning to attack Israel by shock or by surprise, so to finish Israel. Right? But before they could attack Israel, Israel attacked them in 6-day war. Why it is called as 6 days? Because it lasted for 6 days. Clear? How Israel get the idea? Obviously, American agency CIA or Israel's intelligence agency Mossad was active, and they also taken have clues from Nasser action of blockade of Strait of Tiran. Right? What is Tiran? Suppose this is Red Sea, right? And then there is a narrow strait, Strait of Tiran. Then on Egyptian land, Suez Canal start. Clear? So they block Strait of Tiran for Israel. So now Israel can't access Red Sea, because through this Strait of Tiran, Israel get access to Red Sea. Clear? And also expelled UN peacekeeping force from Sinai. Means deploying troops on Sinai Peninsula, and the next step will be attacking Israel. First take Sinai Peninsula, then attack Israel. So Israel attacked. At the same time, Egypt, Syria, Jordan and Iraq, all were USSR allies. And by such attack, Israel get 3 times more territory. It captured Sinai Peninsula from Egypt and also part of Gaza, because Gaza is bordering Egypt. Clear? West Bank, that's again Palestinian territory. It was bordering Jordan. So some territory of Jordan along West Bank, Israel captured. And Golan Heights from Syria. Clear? This you must remember, West Bank borders Jordan, Gaza border Egypt, and Golan Heights border Syria. So these 3 territories Israel captured. So again Israel territorial expansion happened after 6-day war. Understood? Then comes the Yom Kippur War, 1973. Here Egypt and Syria made surprise attack on Israel. Syria, eastern neighbor of Israel, Egypt, western neighbor of Israel, both attacked. Clear? They attacked on Yom Kippur, that's the holiest Jewish day, and also such day falls in holiest month of Islam, that's Ramadan. To retake Egypt, Sinai Peninsula and Syrian Golan Heights from Israel, because in 6-day war, Israel has captured these 2 territories. Clear? They want to take back their territories, that's why they attacked Israel. And Israel exposed its defense vulnerability for the first time. Earlier, Israel was seen as invincible. Right? Now it has been shown that Israel is also vulnerable. Means Israel do not have any intelligence for Israel didn't have any intelligence regarding their attack. So Israel was taken by really a surprise by their attack. It means it is considered that Israelis Mossad intelligence agency Mossad is invincible, formidable. Like its intelligence network is so strong that they knew everything about everybody. So they were not able to predict that Egypt and Syria are going to attack them. But Israel gave a befitting reply and won the war. They were not able to take back Sinai Peninsula and Golan Heights from Israel. Obviously, who have supported? USA. So USA forces were airlifted to Israel. Operation Nickel Grass was launched, and Jordan and Egypt were shown there. Jordan and Syria and Egypt were shown again their place. You understood? 1948 war, first Arab war, Suez crisis, 1967, Six-Day War, 1973, Yom Kippur War. Yom Kippur War. Clear? Then oil embargo happened. The USSR allies, not Saudi Arabia, UAE, USSR allies, that is Egypt, Syria, right, Libya, Iraq, etc., stopped supplying oil and gas to the world. Caused oil crisis, which caused 4-time rise in oil and gas prices. That's why International Energy Agency created. Understood now? Oil crisis. Clear? And this Yom Kippur war ended after UN brokered ceasefire. They were not able to take back their territory, but Israel vulnerability was exposed. That Israel is not invincible. It can be defeated. Right? Clear? And there was another lesson that military solution is not possible in this region. Neither Israel can be defeated militarily, nor they could be stopped militarily. They will continue to attack Israel, Syria, etc., USSR allies, but they will never able to defeat Israel. Clear? That's why Camp David Accords happened in 1978, where Israel agreed to return Sinai Peninsula to Egypt. In return, Egypt became first Arab state to officially recognize Israel, establish full diplomatic and commercial relations. Why? Egypt was USSR ally, but now Egypt become USA ally. That's why Egypt-Israel agreement happened. Israel returned Sinai Peninsula. In return, Egypt established full diplomatic relation with Israel. Clear? And Israel, now Egypt also granted free passage of Israeli ships via Suez Canal and Strait of Tiran. Camp David Accord 1978. So Israel now get legitimacy from a Muslim state in Arab world, that is Egypt. Clear? Then Lebanon invasion happened in 1982. Now you will see the rise of Hezbollah. So People Liberation Organization 1964 established, have military wing Fateh, launching violent attack against Israel. Right? So obviously from West Bank it will not be able to do, because Israel will launch deadly attack in West Bank. So they started attacking Israel from Jordan. So they take shelter in Jordan and they started attacking Israel from Jordan, again neighboring state of Israel. But Jordan also ousted them from their territory because of Israeli pressure. Then they take refuge in Lebanon, and from Lebanon they carry out the attacks against Israel. Clear? 1982. Then Israel attacked Palestinian Liberation Organization in Lebanon in 1982 and seized the city of Beirut. So People Liberation Organization expelled from Jordan, they take shelter in southern Lebanon, and they created state within state, means attacking Israel and also running in that area schools, hospitals, etc. for local people. Clear? Because that was Muslim populated region, right? Then 92 Israeli invasion happened and they enter 40 kilometer into Lebanon. So they come 40 kilometers inside Lebanon, and even they further proceed to seize Beirut. There they make PLO soldiers and including their leader Yasser Arafat under siege. They put PLO soldiers and even their leader Yasser Arafat under siege, means under capture of Israel. Clear? So they were released, PLO leader and their soldiers were released after they make a promise to Israel that they will leave Lebanon and they will take shelter far away in Tunisia in Africa. Clear? So they were relocated to Tunisia. Understood? But what happened? Israeli backed Lebanese Christian Phalangist militias. There is a sect of Christianity, Phalangist. And do remember, Lebanon is 60% Christian and 40% Shia Muslim country. Lebanon is 60% Christian, 40% Shia Muslim country. So Muslims are threat to Israel because Muslim population of Lebanon were supporting PLO, were giving refuge to PLO. So Israel thought eliminate Muslim population from Lebanon. The Christian majority also thought eliminate Muslims from Lebanon. The entire Lebanon will be of Christians. So that's why Christian Phalangist militia supported by Israel killed Shiite Muslim population of Lebanon. Shiite Muslim population of Lebanon. And also some people liberation organization, Palestinian people living there. Right? Famous were Sabra and Shatila massacre. These were the cities along Israel-Lebanon border. There they have been killed. Okay. Now Shiite Muslims start feeling insecure of Israel and also Christian majority, that they can anytime be killed by either Christian majority Lebanon or Israel, that's Jewish state. So they wanted now somebody to provide protection to them. And they got such protection from a new organization created, that is Hezbollah. A new organization get created to provide them security, that's Hezbollah. Otherwise, Israel would have expanded to this region of Lebanon, will take under this also control and would have displaced Shia Muslims also of Lebanon. Clear? The same fate Shia Muslim would have experienced that Palestinians have experienced in 1948. Clear? Timing, you see timing, 1982. This is happening in 1982. In 1979, Iranian Revolution has happened. Iranian Revolution happened 1979. So we will discuss in Iran. Before 1979, Iran was pro-USA. But in 1979, Iranian Revolution happened and Iran became pro-USSR. Ayatollah Khamenei came into power. Right? And Iran is Shia majority country. 60-70% population of Iran is Shia. Clear? So, and before 1979, pro-USA government was there of Shah dynasty, and Shah was Sunni. Now, anti-USA Shia government is there, and Lebanese Shias, Lebanese Muslims are Shias, and also now are anti-Israel, anti-USA. So now a new organization is being created by support of Iran, that is Hezbollah, to provide protection to Lebanese Shias. You get the point? So Hezbollah literally means Party of God, is Shiite Muslim organization supported by Iran, created in 1982, because at that time Iranian Revolution already had happened. Clear? So it's a political party. It contests election in Lebanon and have seats in Lebanese parliament. Also have military force whose objective is to fight against Israel, to eliminate Israel, to finish Israel. So Islamic Revolution happened in Iran and Iran started exporting ideology. For that purpose is Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps have sent more than 1500 Maulvis to this region of Lebanon, Bekaa Valley, to train and unify Shiite militias. This Hezbollahs. Just like Saudi Arabia sent Maulvis to train Taliban, right, in Afghanistan, similarly they sent to indoctrinate Hezbollah, to fight against Israel. Similarly, Taliban were used to fight against USSR. Similarly, they were used to fight against Israel. And they obviously owe their allegiance to Iran supreme leader. Clear? So parts of territory of Lebanon which is bordering Israel is under control of Hezbollah. So Hezbollah was provided arms by whom? Iran. Right? Iran is anti-USA, anti-Israel. Want to finish Israel. Clear? Earlier Egypt, Syria want to finish Israel. Why? They were Soviet states. Palestine was also pro-Soviet. These people, Palestinian Liberation Organization was pro-Soviet. So Palestinian Liberation Organization was supported by USSR, who were providing arms to PLO to fight against Israel, USSR. So till 1980, it was fight between USSR and USA. It was communist versus capitalist fight. Now it become religious fight. Now you will see, after 1980s, the fight between Israel and Palestinian become religious. Because now Iran makes the entry. Because see, in 1980s, USSR power is declining. By 1989, USSR disintegrated. Then who continued to support Hezbollah? And then you will find a new entry of Hamas, Iran. Who? Because USSR disintegrated in 1989. So after 1989, who is supporting these anti-Israel forces? Iran. Earlier USSR provided the funds, arms, etc. Now who is providing? Iran. Understood? And Iran provided funds, USSR provided funds, arms in the name of communist ideology. That communist regime should be established there, etc. Right? And Iran provided funds, arms, etc. in the name of religious ideology. That Shiite rule, Shia Muslim rule should be there all over the world. Because I've told you, Iran wants to emerge as leader of Muslim world. So is Saudi Arabia. Clear? And Israel as Jewish state is enemy of Islam as per their ideology. Clear? Israel is ally of USA in the region, and USA is against Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei. Right? So that's why Israel become enemy of Iran. Understood? For two reasons: for anti-USA and also for Iran to emerge as leader of Islamic world. Israel become enemy of Iran. Understood? Clear? So that's why they indoctrinated Hezbollah to fight jihad against Kafir Israel. Clear? You understood? So its goals was to expel Western powers, USA, France, Britain, etc. from the region, and also destroy Israel. Because these are the goals of Iran. Iran always felt threatened from Western powers, Israel. So Iran felt existential threat to its sovereignty, territorial integrity from Western powers and Israel. Clear? You get the point? So they launched Islamic Jihad and launched bombings against Israel. So it was complete military wing, military force, have missiles, drones, bombs, tanks, etc. provided by Iran. And the southern Lebanon, because of 1982 Israeli invasion of Lebanon for evicting PLO, southern Lebanon came under control of Israel. And Hezbollah is able to make sure exit of Israel in 18 years, by year 2000. It attacked Israel so much that Israel have to finally leave southern Lebanon. And Hezbollah celebrated it as first Arab victory over Israel. Then in 2006, Lebanon war again happened, that's between Hezbollah and Israel. But no result, because Hezbollah was provided arms by Iran, also by Russia and China and so on. And Syria, right? This is suppose Israel, this is Lebanon, this is Syria, right? This is Syria, bordering both Lebanon and Israel. So, and Syria borders Iraq. Iraq then border Iran. Iraq is also Shia majority country. Iraq was having Saddam Hussein as its dictator, and Saddam Hussein was pro-USSR. Clear? So Iran was supplying arms through Iraq, through Syria to Lebanon, Hezbollah. Hezbollah used these arms against Israel. Because Syria also have pro-Iran, pro-Russia government, that is of Bashar al-Assad. So when rebel groups supported by America started violent attacks against Bashar al-Assad government, then what do you think Hezbollah will support? Bashar al-Assad government or rebel groups? Bashar al-Assad government, because Bashar al-Assad government supported by Iran, supported by Russia. Hezbollah supported by Iran, supported by Russia. So they are part of same group. Obviously Hezbollah fight on the side of Bashar al-Assad government, Syrian government, because Syrian government was pro-Russia, pro-Iran, pro-China, anti-USA, anti-Israel. Clear? And USA wants to replace Bashar al-Assad by pro-USA government. That's why they supplied arms to rebel groups to fight against Bashar al-Assad government. We will discuss in Syria, that's the next topic. Clear? So point is, Hezbollah has fought on the behalf of Bashar al-Assad. Right? And Hezbollah was state within state, because they manage school, hospitals, etc. in southern Lebanon. They have a political wing also, which contest elections, have seats in Lebanon parliament. And they have military wing also, like more than 150,000 rockets, missiles, precision guided munition, drones, etc. they have to attack Israel. And Israel now is following super Sparta doctrine, which means Israel wants to be independent of US military support, wants to build so deep military industrial complex that it is able to produce all the weapons it requires. Why? Because it wants to eliminate completely Hezbollah. And as of now, Israel has launched Eternal Darkness, where Israel is targeting Hezbollah in Lebanon. You must have seen in news. On one side, Israel is targeting Iran. On the other side, it is targeting Hezbollah in Lebanon. But Hezbollah has become quite weak now, absolutely weak. Why? Because Iran is used to supply arms to Hezbollah, so is Russia. Russia is busy in Ukraine war. Russia can't supply arms to Hezbollah. And Iran used to supply Hezbollah arms through Syria. And in Syria now, pro-USA government gets established. So now Syria is not giving access to Iran to supply arms to Hezbollah. That's why Hezbollah now do not have arms supply. That's why by taking advantage of this weakness, Israel is launching multiple strikes at Hezbollah. Reason? Because US wants to withdraw from Middle East. If Hezbollah is finished, one problem solved. If Hezbollah is finished, one problem solved. And it's almost near to finished. It's almost near to finished. Syria already solved, pro-USA government established. Clear? You understood? Iraq was under Saddam Hussein, pro-USSR, pro-Russia. In 2003, America intervened militarily, removed Saddam Hussein from power, introduced democracy there. Clear? And now you have pro-USA government there also in Iraq. Saudi Arabia, UAE, already USA allies. Israel, already USA allies. And by Abraham Accord, USA making Saudi Arabia, UAE, Israel as friends. Clear? Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, already USA lies. Oman, USA lie. Yemen, we will discuss. There also Houthi rebels were there, who were supported by Iran. They are also decimated by Iran. Oh, sorry, they are also decimated by Israel. So that is also under USA control. So the Egypt pro-USA. So whole region is under USA control. The only state left was Iran. That's why they have attacked now Iran. Clear? Hamas is also finished now, as of now. Clear? So USA is clearing up the mess in Middle East. Clear? So you understood about Hezbollah? Hezbollah clear? Lebanon? So Lebanese government is not against Israel. It's Hezbollah, which was against Israel, operating from southern Lebanon, supported by Iran. Clear? You understood? So now coming to this entry of second actor, that is Hamas. First was PLO, second was Hezbollah, third now Hamas. So Hamas was established in 1987. Leader was Sheikh Ahmad Yassin, who has linkage with Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas has linkage with Muslim Brotherhood. It's a political organization in Middle East who wants to establish that Puritan Islamic state in entire Middle East. Means will run as per Shariat, run as per Prophet. They try to re-establish the times of Prophet Muhammad in Middle East. That's Muslim Brotherhood. This party, Muslim Brotherhood, is a political party. It's active in every Middle Eastern state. Wants to replace whoever is in power, wants to assume power in its own hands, and wants to establish that Puritan Islamic political order that was prevalent during Prophet Muhammad time. They want to run the society as per Sharia. So Hamas is offshoot of Muslim Brotherhood. It's a branch of Muslim Brotherhood. Its objective was to get control over Palestine and establish Islamic state here. Prophet Muhammad time kind of political system here. Understood? First objective. Second objective was finish Israel, to take control of Israel territory also. So they waged armed resistance for Palestinian liberation and established Islamic state here. Clear? Palestinian Liberation Organization do not have any objective of Islamic state because they were creation of USSR. They have the objective of communist state establishment. Hamas has the objective of Islamic state establishment. So Hezbollah want Islamic state but on Shia ideology. Hamas want Islamic state but on Sunni ideology. So after 1980s, this Palestinian cause become religious. Earlier it was communist. So they launched first Intifada. Intifada means shaking off in Arabic, means armed struggle by Palestinians or by Hamas against Israel. That's between 1987 to 93, means launched attacks against Israel, against their military, people, etc. And this push Israel for negotiation with Palestine. They were not able to do with Hamas because Hamas was never ready for negotiation. But at least Israel hold negotiation with PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization. Clear? In which PLO recognize Israel state and Israel recognize PLO as legitimate government of West Bank and Gaza. PLO is the legitimate government of Palestinians in West Bank and Gaza. In return, PLO recognize Israel state. Clear? And it was agreed in Oslo I Accord, mediated by USA, Oslo in Norway, that Israel will withdraw from West Bank and Gaza. And they will do economic cooperation like trade, etc. So it means PLO and Israel become friends. PLO and Israel become friends. PLO dropped armed struggle against Israel. PLO established 1964 armed wing Fateh, launching violent attack against Israel, culminated into Lebanon war 1982, relocated to Tunisia. Then Hamas came, launched violent attack against Israel called as Intifada. That pushed Israel at least to have friendly relation with PLO so that it can focus on only Hamas. It can't focus on both PLO and Hamas in fight, right? So now by Oslo Accord 1993, PLO drop off violence against Israel, clear, and become friend of Israel. So now the world is moving towards two-state solution, means there will be two states, Israel and Palestine. Earlier PLO, Hamas were seeking one-state solution, means there should be only one state of Palestine. But Israel always said two states. You also stay here, we also stay here. And by PLO recognition of Israel, now the world is moving towards two-state solution, means there will be two states, Palestine and Israel there. But this accord do not settle Jerusalem status, means whether it will be of Israel or Palestine, or those Palestinians who want to return back to their homes, that issue not resolved. Borders are not demarcated. Disarmament, that's of Palestine, not happen because Israel always feel insecure that if Palestinians are armed, then they can launch attack against Israel. Clear? And there was weak enforcement. Israel continued to expand its settlement in West Bank. This is Israel, this is Gaza, this is West Bank. So what Israel do? Increasingly occupying the territory of West Bank by letting Jews to establish housing colonies there. More and more land of West Bank is coming under control of Israel, so that Palestinian West Bank territory could be further shrink, and it will shrink to such a point that it will just become a point, means they no longer will have any territory. So by increasingly occupying West Bank territory, Israel is making sure that there is no state of Palestine. There will be no territory of Palestine. So there will be only one state, that is Israel. Clear? That it was doing in West Bank. So only one provision of Oslo Accord get into force, that is mutual recognition by Israel and PLO. Other provisions get violated. Then Oslo II Accord happened between Israel and Palestine, in which it was proposed that West Bank will be divided into three parts. A, occupied by Palestine. C, by Israel, because Israel was increasingly occupying West Bank territory, right? And 3, there will be territory which will be jointly administered by Israel and Palestine. They will do security coordination between each other, and there will be safe passage between West Bank and Gaza, because I've told you between Gaza and West Bank there is Israeli territory. So there should be a corridor whereby Palestinian can move between Gaza and West Bank easily. But again, Palestine say my West Bank territory is also further shrinking. Earlier it has this much territory, now this much is controlled by Israel, this controlled by Israel increasingly, right? Its territory is getting fragmented and shrinking. And it is economically dependent on Israel, because Israel supply food, medical aid, etc. to people of Palestine, because Israel control all the coasts, airspace, etc. And this agreement do not include Hamas. So Hamas continue to launch attacks against Israel. Then Camp David summit happened in 2000. It get failed because it says Jerusalem will remain to Israel. Israel will keep 9% West Bank settlement blocks in exchange of 1% land be given to Palestinians. Israel reject that Palestinian refugees should be allowed to come back to Israel to live there where they were living before Israel creation. Then Israel demanded control of Palestinian airspace, water resources, right? Military presence at Jordan Valley near to West Bank. So these provisions were rejected by Palestinians. That's why this Camp David summit get failed. And this led to launch of second Intifada. That's between 2000 to 2005, where Hamas violently started attacking Israel, right? Suicide bombings, etc. And in return, Israel was doing military operation against Hamas and so on, right? And in 2006, Hamas won the election in both West Bank and Gaza. So now in Gaza and West Bank, who will be in power? Hamas. And Hamas will further launch violent attacks against Israel. Clear? So this was neither acceptable to Israel nor acceptable to Palestinian Liberation Organization. So Palestinian Liberation Organization fought against Hamas because they are losing power to Hamas now. West Bank, Gaza now will be under Hamas, not under them. Right? So Palestinian Liberation Organization fought against Hamas, and they take control of West Bank, and Hamas take control of Gaza. Clear? So after 2006, Gaza earlier, which was under control of Palestinian Liberation Organization (PLO), and West Bank was also under PLO control. Right? Hamas won the election in both Palestinian territory, and after which Hamas and Fatah fight with each other, and eventual result was Gaza came under control of Hamas and West Bank came under control of Palestinian Liberation Organization (PLO). And PLO do not launch any attack against Israel because Oslo Accord led to mutual recognition of each other government. Clear? You understood? So Hamas after 2007, you will see launch attacks against Israel from Gaza. Understood? So in 2008-9 Gaza war happened. So Israel launched Operation Cast Lead, means because Hamas attacked Israel by rockets, you must have seen in TV videos, and Israeli air defense system called as Iron Dome neutralized those rockets in air itself. Right? So Israel launched airstrikes against Hamas, and also ground troops were sent in Gaza to kill Hamas soldiers. Clear? So it ended with unilateral ceasefires by both because it does not result anything. They just fighting with each other. Right? In 2010, peace talks happened. Again collapse because Israelis are not ready to vacate their settlement at West Bank. They are increasingly occupying the area of West Bank. Clear? So border was not, US was trying to mediate to settle the borders, Jerusalem city issue, refugees return, Palestinian refugees return, or security in the region, means Israel never feel insecure about possible attack from West Bank, etc. Right? That US was trying to solve. But it collapsed because Israel never get ready to release land under its occupation in West Bank. And then the attacks by Hamas over Israel and Israel attack on Hamas continued. In 2018, Trump shifted US embassy to Jerusalem. Earlier it was at Tel Aviv, now it is to Jerusalem. Means Trump or USA under Trump is recognizing that Jerusalem entirely belongs to Israel. Palestinian now can never get back Jerusalem from Israel. Clear? And then Trump announced peace to prosperity deal, and he called it a deal of century, by which he says West Bank, the occupied Israelis have established settlements there. So part of West Bank is under Israeli control. That will remain with Israel. That was part of deal. And Jerusalem will be entirely under Israel, will be its capital. No refugee return, no Palestinian return to Israel. Right? Israel accepted this plan, Palestine rejected it. So this peace to prosperity proposal of Trump failed. Clear? Then in 2020, Abraham Accord happened. First UAE recognized Israel, later on Bahrain, Sudan, Morocco, etc. Clear? So why Arab states are openly now recognizing Israel? Because for them Iran threat matter more than Palestine. Even if there is no Palestine, they are okay with it. What they want is subduing Iran. So Iran is bigger enemy than Israel. That's why they make friendship with Israel. So to subdue Iran. So Palestinians now no longer have support of USSR allies, that is Egypt, Syria, Iraq, etc. Right? No longer have tacit support of USA, Muslim allies like UAE, Saudi Arabia, etc. All they have come in support of Israel now. Clear? Palestinians or Hamas particularly have support only from Iran. Clear? But when Syria falls, that support also Hamas lost, because through Syria, Iran was supplying arms to Hamas. That's why you will see now Hamas getting decimated by Israel. So Gaza conflict happened in 2021. You must have seen again Israel and Hamas are fighting with each other. Clear? Because there in Sheikh Jarrah, that's in West Bank, Israeli again evicted Palestinians and occupied that territory. Clear? At Al-Aqsa Mosque, some Palestinians gathered for protest and Israeli opened fire at them. So that angered Hamas and they launched the attacks against Israel. In return, Israel launched the attacks, and by which lot of people died. And ceasefire happened by mediation of Egypt. Then again 2023, now Syria has fallen. Israel launched so many attacks on Hamas to finish it. And for that purpose, Israel need to completely decimate Hamas, a justification. And that justification came when Hamas entered Israel and killed innocent citizens. You must have heard about that incident when Hamas terrorists enter, or Hamas insurgents entered Israel and start killing whoever they were seeing. Innocent citizens were killed by Hamas. Clear? And that gives the justification to Israel to launch disproportionate force, disproportionate attack against Hamas, because they were just waiting for finishing Hamas, because Syria already finished, so Hamas do not have arms supply, right, from Iran. So now Israel can easily decimate Hamas. And it is said that such a Hamas terrorist attack, Israel allowed it to happen. They could have prevented such a Hamas attack against ordinary civilians, terrorist attack against ordinary civilians, but they allowed it to happen because they need a justification to completely finish Hamas. So Israel launched Operation Iron Swords, strikes, ground invasion to completely destroy Hamas. Clear? So Hamas finished almost. That's why there is Gaza peace plan announced by USA through UN Security Council sanction, because Russia and China do not vote. That's why it got UNSC approval. This says a board of peace will be established, which will be headed by US and members like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, etc., which will ensure the military control of Gaza and technocratic administration. How technocratic administration? By Palestinian National Committee for Administration. So this will be the government which will be delivering health, education or sanitation, water services to people of Gaza. It will be led by a technocrat, Ali Shah. Neither PLO nor Israel nor Hamas will be member of this committee. So new government gets established at Gaza. Earlier it was of Hamas. Before Hamas it was of PLO. So now under this Gaza peace plan, neither PLO nor Hamas nor Israel will have government in Gaza. Who will have the government? Palestinian National Committee for Administration of Gaza, led by a neutral person, Ali Shah. Understood? And this government will be overseen by Board of Peace, led by US, Egypt, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, etc., to make sure that Gaza do not fall under completely Israel, so that a separate state of Palestine could be created. Clear? Separate state of Palestine could be created. Right? Understood? And then USA will provide $71 billion aid for reconstruction of Palestine, because for reconstruction of Gaza. Understood? For reconstruction of Gaza, because it has been completely destroyed by Israel. Right? So that separate state of Palestine could be created. Understood? So now the world is completely towards two-state solution. Israel and Palestine, two separate states will be there in this region. Then international stabilization force will be there. That's US-led force. US, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, all countries force. That will ensure security in the region. Means neither Hamas take control of Gaza nor Israel. Right? Policing function will be performed by International Stabilization Force under the command of USA. So US supervised government is there, US supervised or US led force is there, making sure that Gaza do not remain under control of Hamas nor come under control of Israel, so that Gaza could be made as separate Palestinian state. Clear? So Israel will be there, so is the Palestinian state in Gaza, also in West Bank. Clear? And they will figure out how West Bank and Gaza could be connected. You see, Hamas decimated. Clear? Hezbollah nearly decimated. Clear? That's why Israel is continuing to attack Hezbollah. Because just like Hamas, it do not want to give any opportunity to Hezbollah to regroup itself, revive itself. Understood? So Israel do not have any threat, neither from Hamas nor from Hezbollah, nor from Egypt, nor from Jordan, nor from Lebanon, right? Only one was left, Iran, and they are dealing with it. Clear? Now you're understanding the things. Now you heard Lebanon also entered into war against Israel. Now you understand who was the Lebanon? Hezbollah Lebanon, right? Southern Lebanon. And why? You must have heard the news, Israel start attacking Lebanon, right? Why? You understand? Because it wants to decimate Hezbollah. So in IR, I've told you, there are rubbish things being circulated on social media. You need to keep away from that. And in mainstream media, there are so many news that came. Some are of trivial nature, right? That not in that trivial sense, because people get died. It's a major matter. But for your examination perspective, it is trivial. Like Israel is killing this much people, or Hezbollah have killed this much people. This site has been attacked. That site has been attacked, etc. No, that is not relevant for examination. What you need to remember is the underlying causes and the geopolitical analysis. Understood? Clear? And the wider picture of that. Clear? So those are the substantive things on which you will focus upon. So in Hindu, etc., you find that this attack there happened, that attack there happened, etc. These are just for one time read, right? That you do not need to remember, and neither you need to write it in your notes. Clear? You understood? I have not given you any detail of timeline at what date Israel attacked Iran, then Iran attacked what to Israel, right? These sites were attacked, this number of people killed, and so on. That is not what you will focus in IR. Clear? You understood? These are trivial information. So now coming to the Syria, then Iran and Yemen. So they are small topics. Main was Israel and Palestine, the mother of all Middle Eastern disputes. Clear? Understood? So anything you are not able to understand in Israel, Palestine? So now comes to the Syria. So Syria has Hafiz al-Assad government till 2000, and he was pro-USSR. He was dictator of Syria, supported by USSR, and his successor was his son Bashar al-Assad, right? So they were pro-USSR, and after USSR disintegration they become pro-Russia and pro-Iran. Why? Because Bashar al-Assad was Shia. He was Shia, but Shias are just 10% of Syria population. 90% are Sunni. So a Shia minority was ruling over Sunni majority. Understood? So what happened in 2011? Arab Spring. Arab Spring was a term used for democratic movements started in Middle East and North Africa. Started with Tunisia. There people came on streets to replace the dictator from power, right? And in Tunisia it became successful. Then it spread to other dictatorial rulers in Middle East and North Africa. For example, Libya, Gaddafi removed. Egypt, Mohamed Morsi was the dictator he removed, right? Yemen also we will discuss. There Saleh was removed, and in Syria also that democratic movement started to remove Bashar al-Assad. Understood? Sometimes these movements were peaceful, sometimes violent also, to remove the dictator from power. And these Arab Spring do not spread to UAE or Saudi Arabia because they were Americanized. So these movements started majorly in pro-Russian or pro-USSR allies. And the underlying reasons, the people make the reason of coming into street for bringing democracy because they thought that the dictator was corrupt or economic inequality is there, unemployment is there, inflation is there, etc. But actually these protests were supported by USA. The people were suffering by corruption, by inequality, by poverty, by inflation, etc. But who instigated them or who add fuel to the fire? So there was Shia Alawite minority. Bashar al-Assad belonged to Shia Alawite minority. Within Shia also there are different sects, subsects, right? So he was ruling, and Sunni majority means 80-90% of Syria was Sunni by sect, and they feel that they are being dominated by Shia minority rulers, and Shia minority rulers are living luxurious lives, and Sunni majority are living impoverished life, right? So they started for replacement of Bashar al-Assad from power by peaceful protest, but later on it turned into violent protest, and multiple rebel factions get built in Syria backed by foreigners to oust Assad from power. And finally Assad is now out of power. It started in 2012. For 10 years Bashar al-Assad was fighting with this rebel faction, and finally he gave up. And Bashar al-Assad was provided arms, etc. by whom? Russia, China and Iran. And these rebel factions were provided arms by whom? USA, Saudi Arabia, etc. How? You will understand. There is Al-Qaeda branch in Syria who was fighting against Bashar al-Assad to remove him from power so that Al-Qaeda can come into power, right? And Al-Qaeda's now split off, that is Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, that's a Sunni organization. Now it got the power. It fought against Bashar al-Assad violently, right? It wants to establish Sunni Islamic rule. Clear? You understood? Now Hayat Tahrir al-Sham leader is in power. Again you can write STS in your examination if you don't remember the full form. Then Syrian Democratic Force. It was another rebel faction fighting against Bashar al-Assad, right? They are led by Kurdish. They are led by Kurds. This was the organization of Kurds. This is another sect of Islam. Another sect of Islam, right? And they are discriminated by both Shia and Sunnis. That's why they wanted to create their separate country, separate homeland, separate independent state, Kurdistan. Kurdistan. That's why they were fighting against Bashar al-Assad to remove him from power. Thereby they can establish Kurdistan. Clear? And their organization named was Syrian Democratic Force. And Kurds were supported by America. STS also supported by America. STS were given promise by America, if you came into power, you establish your Sunni rule. Kurds were given promise by America that if you came into power, you establish your Kurdistan, but replace Bashar al-Assad from power. Clear? You understood? Then there was Free Syrian Army. It was supported by Turkey. And this army was fighting against Bashar al-Assad so that Free Syrian Army could come into power, so that Syria could remain pro-Turkey if Free Syrian Army is in power, because Syria is bordering Turkey. Syria is bordering state of Turkey. So to have pro-Turkey government, puppet government in Syria, Turkey supported Free Syrian Army. So that Free Syrian Army can replace Bashar al-Assad from power, Free Syrian Army could get the power. Understood? Clear? And second objective of Free Syrian Army was to fight against SDF, to fight against Kurds, so that Kurds do not get power in Syria. Why? Because Kurds are also there in Turkey. So this is Turkey, this is Syria. So Kurds live in this region and they want Kurdistan by this region. So Kurdistan will have parts of Turkey and parts of Syria. So Turkey do not want that its territory gets separated from it as Kurdistan. Because if Syrian Democratic Force came into power, then they will launch attacks against Turkey to take back Kurds inhabited region to make separate state of Kurdistan. Clear? So Free Syrian Army was fighting against Bashar al-Assad, so that pro-Turkey government can come into power, also fighting against Kurds, so that Kurds do not come into power. Then Assad was supported by Russia, Iran, right, against these violent rebel groups. Clear? You understood? Clear? And STS was supported by USA, Saudi Arabia, etc. Saudi Arabia, why? Because Saudi Arabia is Sunni country, wants to establish Sunni government in Syria, and STS wanted to establish Sunni government. Clear? STS was supported by Saudi Arabia and USA. So now Assad have finally give up. Why? Because it was dependent on Russia, Iran, Hezbollah support. Iran is not able to provide support. Russia get busy in Ukraine, right? And Hezbollah was made weakened by repeated Israeli attacks. That's why Bashar al-Assad left Syria and take asylum in Russia. Who came into power? STS. Clear? So there was Al-Qaeda branch named as Jabhat al-Nusra in Syria, whose goal was to establish Islamic State, not only in Syria but in entire Middle East. Then few fighters of Al-Qaeda get separated and form their own organization named Jabhat Fateh al-Sham, whose objective was to create Islamic State comprising the territory of Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine. But in 2017, it get transformed into STS, where under Ahmad al-Shura, they give up the goal of Islamic State in entire Middle East. They give up the goal of Islamic State establishment in Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine. They just narrow their goal to replacement of Bashar al-Assad, to have power only in Syria. Now they want power only in Syria. Now their interests get aligned with USA. So USA started supporting STS. So STS is offshoot of Al-Qaeda, a splinter group of Al-Qaeda, a group splitted off from Al-Qaeda. Clear? Because they give up global jihad, goal of Al-Qaeda, the pan-Islamic state, goal of Jabhat Fateh al-Sham, right? And they keep their goal only of dislodging Bashar al-Assad from power, so that pro-USA government can be established. Clear? And then they start occupying territories of Syria. They starting having different territories of Syria under their control one by one. And there they established Syrian Salvation Government, which were running school or building infrastructure, collecting taxes, etc. So their current president of Syria is Ahmad al-Shura, who is US and UN declared terrorist because he was part of Jabhat al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, right? And he distanced himself from extremist route, that's of Al-Qaeda, of global jihad, protect minority sites like of Christianity, etc., Jews are there, and do PR outreach. Means when he visited UN for annual General Assembly meeting, he was welcomed by Western media. He is visiting UK, where he is being welcomed by UK Prime Minister, given full state honor, right? And he is now emerging as ally of USA, UK, means Western powers in Syria, And earlier Syrian ports were accessed by Russia. Now he has blocked Russian access, not giving Syrian territory to be used by Iran to supply arms to Hezbollah and Hamas. So again, there is no permanent friend, no permanent enemy. Only interest is permanent. He is serving Western interest. That's why he is now darling of West. Clear? Attended by Trump and so on. That's all about Syria. So understood about Syria? So now coming to the Iran. Before Iran, you understand Yemen. Yemen. So it is second largest Arab state in peninsula after Saudi Arabia, capital Sana'a, and there was ancient civilization in Yemen also, that is Sabian civilization, but now it's very poorest country of the world because ravaged by Yemen civil war, right? So they were also British colony, but after independence in 1962, two states get formed, right? This is Arabian Peninsula, right? This is Oman and this is Yemen, right? So two states get formed after Britishers left Yemen, just like North Korea, South Korea get formed, North Vietnam, South Vietnam, right? India, Pakistan, Israel, Palestine, right? Similarly, North and South Vietnam get formed. North Vietnam called as Yemen Arab Republic. It was backed by USA and Saudi Arabia, right? North, this was North Yemen, right? And South Yemen also get formed, which was named as People Democratic Republic of Yemen, supported by Soviet. Clear? This was right. This is Yemen. Then this much area was North Yemen, and this was South Yemen. Clear? So Yemen territory got divided between USA backed and USSR backed governments. Clear? Why? To control Bab al-Mandeb. Let's see. Understood? Because Yemen is located at Bab al-Mandeb, choke point, right? Strait of Bab al-Mandeb, between Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Somalia on this side, Yemen on this side. Through Yemen you can control Bab al-Mandeb. Then in 1990 it get united when USSR get disintegrated, and then Republic of Yemen get formed. And Saleh become the leader of or president of Yemen, and Saleh will be whom? Pro-USA or pro-USSR? USA. Why? Because USSR get disintegrated, that's why they get integrated. So Yemen remain pro-USA, pro-Saudi Arabia. Clear? But in 2007 again southern movement revived, means Al-Qaeda in Arabian Peninsula, Ansar al-Sharia, Houthis, they started movement, protests for separate southern Yemen. Clear? Obviously supported by Russia, Iran, etc. Houthis, Shia. Clear? Houthis are Shia. Saleh was Sunni. And in Yemen, 60% population Shia, 40% Sunni. So Sunni ruler was ruling over Shia majority country. So Houthis formed, and they started violent protests, or they started violent attacks against Saleh to remove him power so that Shia government can be formed in Shia majority country of Yemen. So Houthis were supported by whom? Iran. Clear? Understood? Because Yemen was under USA control, under Saudi Arabia control. So Arab Spring happened in 2011, and that Arab Spring also spread in Yemen. The apparent reason were inflation, corruption, etc. Real reason to get pro-Iranian or pro-Russian government established there. Because if Yemen come under control of Iran through Houthis, then Iran will be controlling both Strait of Hormuz and Bab al-Mandeb. Clear? You understood? So Saleh gave up power in 2011, and then Saudi Arabia established Hadi as president of Yemen. Hadi was also pro-Saudi Arabia, but Hadi was not able to control Yemen society. Saleh was able to control. He was powerful leader, but Saleh get injured by Houthi attack. That's why he take medical service in Saudi Arabia and was not able to run country. That's why Hadi was made president of Yemen, right? But Hadi was not able to control Yemen, and Al-Qaeda continued the attacks. Southern separatist movement continued, right? And military was divided. Few were loyal to Saleh, few were loyal to Hadi. Corruption, unemployment, food insecurity, etc. were there. Economic crises were there, right? Then ultimately, Houthis rise during this period. So again, it's a Islamic political and armed movement like Hezbollah. Again, they are Shia, right? Jaddi Shia, again subsect of Shia. Official name is Ansar Allah, means supporter of God. Founder was Hussein Badruddin al-Houthi. Clear? So first they led insurgency against Saleh for southern Yemen independence, then participated in Arab Spring, then took advantage of Hadi weakness, captured Sadas, Sana'a, etc. That's Yemen cities. Northern Yemen get control of Houthis. Clear? Then Hadis were put under house arrest by Houthis. Hadi fled to Saudi Arabia. Then Saudi Arabia launched air strikes against Houthis. Clear? And UK, US, France supported Saudi Arabia because Houthis were supported by Iran. If Yemen control of Houthis, then Iran will have control over both Bab al-Mandeb and Strait of Hormuz. If Hezbollah defeated Israel, then Suez Canal also under control of Iran. Right? So that's why Saudi Arabia backed airstrikes start happening over Houthis. Clear? So Houthis start controlling Sana'a, northern western Yemen, Tej city, right? But Saudi Arabia launched missile and drone attacks, right? Then Houthis and Saleh make a political alliance because Saleh want again power, but now power is with Saudi Arabia backed Hadi, right? Clear? So they captured Aden, that's the city of Yemen together, but Saleh broke the alliance because he wanted power, but by Saudi Arabian support, and Houthis killed Saleh. So now Houthis have control over Sana'a, right? Yemen, northwest Yemen, Taiz, right? Etc. You get the point? And Saleh loyalists joined Houthis and they carry out offensive at another city of Yemen, Hudaydah. Clear? And Houthis attacked Abaqquk or Khurasis oil fields of Saudi Arabia, which disrupted 50% of Saudi Arabia's oil production. Right? So Saudi Arabians were attacking Houthis, Houthis were attacking Saudi Arabia. So what happened if this was Yemen? This part came under control of Houthis and rest were under control of Saudi Arabia. Right? But what happened next? UAE came into picture. Clear? UAE came to picture, I will tell you. So in 2018, UN brokered agreement was signed, Stockholm Agreement, in which there was sub-agreement of Hudaydah, where Hudaydah, that's a port city, there neither Houthis were attacked nor Hadis were attacked, right? And UN presence will be there so that that port remain functional. So Hudaydah will be neither under Hadi control nor Houthis control. Then Taiz, that was again city, their joint committee will be established that will provide humanitarian aid to the people, like food, medical aid to the people, and that joint government will be of Hadis, Houthis, UN, etc. Understood? Then in 2025, in 2023-4, Saudi Arabia allowed Israel to carry on attack against Houthis. Israel was not in war against Houthis. Who was against Houthis? Saudi Arabia. But Israel supported Saudi Arabia. Why? Their godfather said so, USA, to finish Houthis. Clear? Understood? So by 2025, Yemen was divided into three parts. That's in north, Houthis, right? In parts of south, the Southern Transitional Council, STC, backed by UAE. Clear? And in north, by Presidential Leadership Council, that is backed by Saudi Arabia and USA, etc. Why UAE? came into picture, he started backing National Resistance. That was the organization led by Saleh nephew. Right? Why? Because UAE do not want to be junior partner of Saudi Arabia. It wants also its influence, control in the region. But that will not be acceptable to USA. So that's why in 2026, STC dissolved. And now this northern part is under Houthis and rest is under PLC. And Houthis also are going to be further attacked by Saudi Arabia, Israel, etc. and will be finished. And entire Yemen again will come under USA, Saudi Arabia control. Clear? But Yemen people suffered the loss. More than 2 crore people get displaced. And more than 3 lakh people get died. Clear? So why they were involved? Because of Bab Mandeb Strait. And if that region do not come under good governance, then Al-Qaeda will active there, ISIS will get active there, right? And global terrorist attacks can continue from here. Understood about Yemen? Saleh, earlier, North, South Yemen, USA, USSR, then Saleh, then Houthis, Hadi, then now Houthis and PTC. Clear? Understood? So all are just proxy wars between USA and USSR. Now coming to the last, that is Iran. So far so clear? Just 10 minutes more. By that topic will get over. So pre-1979, Shah dynasty was ruling Iran. That was Sunni and pro-USA, whose king was Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Clear? That's why Iran has cordial ties with USA, Israel, etc. And they have shared concern of Soviet expansion here. Clear? You understood? Then 1979, Iranian revolution happened. Ayatollah Khamenei replaced Shah from power. Monarchy get abolished and republic get established. Head of the state will be elected one. But the ultimate power lies with Ayatollah Khamenei, who is also Shia religious leader. Clear? There are elections in Iran. PM is elected in Iran. But eventually, ultimately, power lies with religious leader Ayatollah Khamenei. Clear? And its ideology was anti-Israel, anti-USA. And they want to finish Israel and want to eliminate every presence of USA in Middle East. So for that, they initiate proxy conflict. That's through proxies they started fighting against Israel and USA. That's through Hezbollah, Houthis and Hamas. And these were called as axis of resistance or called as Shia crescent. They are all part of strategy of Iran, and such strategy of Iran was called as axis of resistance or Shia crescent. Just like Chinese encirclement of India called as string of pearls. Similarly, such strategy of Iran is called as Shia crescent or axis of resistance. Clear? To Hamas, Houthis and Hezbollah, financial military support. Who provide? Iran. Except Hamas, Hezbollah and Houthis were Shias. Hamas were Sunnis, but getting support from Iran for their common enemy Israel. Clear? Israel launched shadow war, means indirect war, means launching cyber attacks against Iranian banks, etc., even against their nuclear program. Clear? Or assassinating their nuclear scientists, airstrikes on Iran infrastructure in Syria, etc. Clear? So indirectly, Israel was also fighting against Iran after 1979. Iran started developing nuclear program, nuclear weapons. Why? Because Iran always have fear that USA will intervene militarily in Iran one day and will try to install puppet government of USA. And such fear was not wrong. USA has replaced Saddam Hussein from power in neighboring state of Iran, that is Iraq, has replaced Taliban from power in 2001 and again neighboring state of Iran, replaced Bashar al-Assad, Syria, right, and so on. So that's why Iran thought if it has nuclear weapons, then America will never dare to attack Iran. Clear? You understood? Iran always says that nuclear weapon, this nuclear program is for peaceful purpose, right? But America always fear, Israel always fear that Iran is secretly building nuclear weapon. Israel considered it as existential threat because Iran will then use nuclear weapon against Israel to finish it. USA considered it as part of regional destabilization because if Iran become powerful, then Saudi Arabia become weak. US will become weak in the region, will not able to extract oil and gas from here. Iran will establish its dominance in Syria, in Lebanon, in Palestine, in Yemen, but also in Iraq, also in Kuwait, Bahrain, right, Oman, UAE, Saudi Arabia, etc. And if Iran is developing nuclear weapons, then Saudi Arabia will also say, I will develop nuclear weapons, UAE will also say, I will develop nuclear weapons, or Israel will also say, I will develop nuclear weapons, etc. So the whole region will become nuclear zone, or will turn into nuclear zone, or will get nuclearized, right? And if these countries use nuclear weapons irresponsibly, then they will not only destroy themselves, but can destroy whole humanity. Clear? That's why America wanted Iran never develop nuclear weapons. Clear? Then in 2015, Barack Obama and Iran has got an agreement that is known as JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Program of Action, which says Iran will limit enrichment, means will only use nuclear technology for electricity purpose. And that will be verified by International Atomic Energy Agency. International Atomic Energy Agency can visit nuclear sites of Iran, can see that uranium is enriched only for electricity purpose, not for weapon purpose. In lieu of that, America will remove sanctions on Iran, means can sold its oil and gas freely to the world. Clear? But Donald Trump says that Iran is lying, Iran is secretly building nuclear weapons, so he withdrew from this agreement. But he did the mistake. Iran was not lying. Clear? He withdrew America from this agreement just because such agreement was signed by Barack Obama. He is now mediating with Iran through Pakistan to have similar agreement that Iran give up nuclear weapon program. In lieu of it, America will remove sanctions. Clear? You understood? And when America withdrew from this agreement, Iran increased the enrichment, means start enriching uranium for developing nuclear weapons. Clear? And in 2020-24, missile attack happened between Israel launched missile attack against Iran to destroy its nuclear facilities, nuclear research facilities, so that Iran never able to develop nuclear weapons. In return, Iran attacked back Israel. You must have seen in news last year. And again this year, Israel attacked Iran for multiple purpose. First is regime change, Ayatollah Khamenei they killed. Second, nuclear weapon, they are not able to develop. Clear? And in return, Iran attacked. Israeli cities also attacked Gulf allies of USA, that's UAE, Saudi Arabia, etc. Even attack their oil and gas facilities, so that there could be oil and gas shortage in the world, and the whole world will put pressure on USA to withdraw from Iran. Because Iran cannot beat USA or Israel in traditional war. It can only beat the world by destroying oil and gas facilities of US allies in the region, so that oil and gas shortage could be there, so by blocking Strait of Hormuz, so that oil and gas shortage could be there, so that the whole world will put pressure on USA for withdrawing from Iran. Clear? All these things you already know, you are reading in news. Clear? And now in Pakistan, they are mediating to resolve the conflict. Understood? What, why, how of everything? Now you will read news, have the understanding or not? And do remember one thing about Iran. Iran is very safe country. Why? Because from sea you cannot attack Iran, because you need to pass narrow stretch of Strait of Hormuz, and if your warships came through this Strait of Hormuz, Iran can easily destroy it because it's very narrow. If you are standing dispersed, it's difficult for me to attack you. But if you are standing close to each other, then I can attack you easily. So because of narrow Strait of Hormuz, American warships will be very close to each other. That's why Iran can easily destroy them. Clear? Then Iran cannot be attacked from Pakistan or from Afghanistan, and even from north, because they are mountain region, Hind Kush region. Iran can only be attacked from Iraq. That's a plain area. Iraq, there America replaced Saddam Hussein. But America did the foolish thing. They introduced democracy. and Saddam Hussein was Sunni. But Iraq has around 70% Shia population. So Iraq now has president from Shia community, and that president is maintaining balance between USA and Iran. It is not anti-USA, but certainly will never allow Iraq territory to be used by USA to attack Iran. Clear? So that's why America cannot enter Iran. And Iran is a civilizational state like India. So they have strong nationalism. They have strong nationalism. They can fight for years for protecting their territory. Their spirit can't be subdued. Iran-Iraq war happened in 1980. That continued for 9 years. 9 years they were fighting with each other. And they can continue to fight against America till their last breath. That's why now America needs the exit. Iran also needs the exit, because Iran also knew it can give a challenge to America, but ultimately can't defeat. So now how they both will get dignified exit from this war, that we need to see how this mediation go along. Right? So it's a possibility that Trump will declare victory, that we have killed Khamenei, right? We have destroyed their nuclear weapon program, right? The goals of hers are achieved. Iran will also declare victory, that our sovereignty and territorial integrity are intact. No regime change happened. Still we are anti-USA force. Clear? Understood? So both will declare victory. That will be the solution. Clear? Ultimate solution is this only. JCPOA. That is, Iran give up nuclear weapon program in lieu of America removing sanctions. But in America, Israel want regime change, want puppet government in Iran. That is very hard to achieve as of now. They have to wait for long, or they have to wait for more period of time to have favorable conditions for regime change in Iran. But as of now, it is seeming very difficult. In 10 years, they do regime change in Syria. For 10 years, they were fighting from 2012 to 22. Right? So they were supporting rebel groups for 10 years to fight against Bashar al-Assad. Finally, they were able to dislodge him from power. Right? So as of now, the condition is not right, but certainly in future may come for America to have regime change in Iran. So that's all for today.